Alright guys, Divide Et Impera is back with another major update for Rome 2 Total War, and this time the team finally improved the Empire Divided campaign. The official beta is out and linked below in the video description. That means anyone can jump in right now, test the new content, and give feedback while the developers refine it over the coming months. And this release is a big one, covering not just new rosters and bug fixes, but also continuing towards overhauling some of Rome 2's standalone campaigns, like Empire Divided and Caesar in Gaul. Alongside that, there's also full reworks for factions such as the Mauryaans, Illyrians, and Numidians, as well as a long list of battle tweaks, UI improvements, and smaller fixes. So in this video, I'll be going through everything you need to know, the biggest campaign changes, starting with Empire Divided, Caesar and Gaul, and finally the wider grand campaign, before sharing my own thoughts on how this beta is shaping up. By the end, I guarantee you're going to want to check out this new DEI update right now. Before we dive straight in, if you don't own Total War Rome 2 and you want to play Divide Et Impera, you can pick up the game and its DLCs with a massive discount on Instant Gaming. They have a great roster of other games on sale as well, like Stronghold Crusader Definitive Edition, Borderlands 4, or even the entire Total War catalog, all with big discounts. So if you're thinking about buying Total War Rome 2 or any other game, make sure to click the link below to get your games for cheap and support the channel at the same time. Now let's get back to the video. So the headline feature of this new DEI update, of course, is the start of a complete overhaul for the Empire Divided campaign. And honestly, this is one of the most important steps Divide Et Impera has taken in a long time. Empire Divided has always had potential on paper, a late Roman setting with multiple crises happening at once, from breakaway emperors to barbarian invasions and religious conflict. This was the perfect time period for DEI to start expanding into other areas of Rome 2 Total War. It's been long requested by so many players in the Total War community, within the DEI community, and it's finally here. Phase 1 of the overhaul doesn't try to do everything at once. Instead, it focuses on making Empire Divided playable within the framework of Divide Et Impera. The first step has been swapping every unit over to DEI's models and mechanics. That means when you play now, you aren't stuck with the vanilla rosters. Instead, you got DEI's detailed, historically grounded units. At the moment, many of these are still anachronistic, so you'll see equipment and troop types that don't perfectly fit into the 3rd century setting, but this is deliberate. The objective for now is to give the campaign a stable base to work from, and over time, these rosters will be refined, reshaped, and rebuilt to properly reflect the late Roman military situation. The team has also fixed a lot of underlying problems that previously made Empire Divided feel a little unfinished. Roman, German, Sassanid, and British factions now have updated units to better fit the period, smoothing out progression and creating more authentic armies. A new loyalty system for Roman generals has been added as well, which is a huge improvement over the vanilla version. Your commanders now come with traits and political interactions that reflect the fractured state of the empire. This means you're not just fighting external enemies, you're managing the ambitions and loyalties of the men under you, which feels exactly right for a time of constant civil war. The overhaul introduces new cults and cultural systems that play a much bigger role in shaping your campaign. Where before these mechanics felt shallow, they now have a stronger influence over how your provinces develop, how stable your empire is, and how you interact with the populations you control. This ties in with the broader theme of Empire Divided, an empire in flux with shifting identities and allegiances, and gives you more meaningful choices to make about which direction to take your faction. To raise the stakes even further, plagues and food shortages have been made harsher here as well. This makes sense historically. The 3rd century was full of crises that went beyond the battlefield, and it forces you to think harder about logistics and survival. On top of that, Roman factions get access to new government actions, adding variety to the political side of the campaign. These may not yet be as fleshed out as they will be in later phases of Empire Divided DEI, but they already add so much needed tools for managing an unstable state. Now, what's important to stress is that this is only the beginning, guys. The developers have been clear that the campaign is nowhere near up to their usual standard yet. Units are still placeholders in many cases, there are elements that feel rough or unfinished, and there's plenty of work to be done. But compare this to the vanilla experience, this is a massive first step that's already making a huge improvement. It turns Empire Divided, just like the rest of the game with the DEI treatment, into a campaign that's really worth diving into, even in beta form. For me, the real excitement here isn't just about what's in the beta now, but what it promises for the future. Empire Divided has always been a campaign with enormous untapped potential, and Divide Et Impera is finally unlocking it after all this time. If this first phase is about stability and basic playability, the next phases will be about depth, authenticity, and polish, new mechanics, new rosters, new everything, and that's when this campaign could become one of the best in Rome 2. Of course, alongside Empire Divided, the Caesar and Gaul campaign has also received a massive overhaul, and this one already feels really good. The team has gone back to the foundations of the campaign, reshaping starting positions, reworking buildings and cultural setups, and giving the factions fresh rosters that better reflect the period. It's the kind of update that doesn't just polish things, it fundamentally changes the way this campaign feels. Playing as Caesar no longer means slogging through the same repetitive encounters in this map. Instead, you're facing tribes with unique identities, armies that behave more like their historical counterparts, and a strategy map that forces you to adapt. The starting situation is much sharper now. Roman allies, Gallic tribes, and other regional powers all begin with positions that reflect the tensions of the time. The rosters are one of the most noticeable improvements. Gallic, Germanic, and Roman forces each feel distinct, and unit design is closer to the historical record as well. You're not just fighting endless variations of the same units, which is kind of how I felt in Caesar and Gaul. Each enemy now presents new challenges, whether it's the massed infantry of the Arverni, the mobility of the Germanic tribes, or the disciplined legions of Rome. Combined with the building and cultural changes, the campaign feels much more alive now, with every faction carrying its own set of strengths and weaknesses. What makes all of this really exciting, though, is how it connects to the larger picture. With Empire Divided starting its overhaul and Caesar and Gaul now fully refreshed, Divide Et Impera is edging closer to something players have been waiting for years. Up until now, the Grand Campaign has always been the centerpiece of the mod, while the DLC campaigns often felt a little bit left behind. But especially over the last year, and now with this update, we're seeing DEI expand its full vision across the entire game. For the first time, players can look forward to a future where every campaign, whether it's Hannibal at the Gates, Rise of the Republic, or Empire Divided, carries the same level of depth, authenticity, and balance that DEI is known for. And that's no small thing. A lot of people in this community have been waiting for this day, because while Rome 2 has always had interesting campaign settings, many of them felt shallow or underdeveloped compared to the main Grand Campaign with DEI. And the work here with this update is about bringing those smaller, focused campaigns up to the same high standard. So whether you want to play a massive sandbox or a more contained scenario, the experience feels complete and rewarding. Finally, this update also touches the core Grand Campaign and a wide range of factions across the map. 3 factions in particular, the Mauryaans, the Numidians, and the Illyrians, have all had major overhauls. The Mauryan Empire now fields fully updated units and area of recruitment options with new appearances, stats, and thematic adjustments that make them stand out as a powerful Eastern empire. And they also gain unique army traditions and faction traits that deepen their identity on the campaign map. The Numidians have had their roster rebalanced and their visuals brought up to DEI's latest standard, and the Illyrians got a big update here as well, with a sharper focus on light infantry, skirmishers, and hoplites while removing redundant units. This makes their armies feel more specialized, better reflecting the historical fighting style of the region. On top of the roster work, the Grand Campaign also benefits from countless quality of life improvements. Battle mechanics have been tuned with speed and acceleration adjustments for infantry and cavalry. Turn times have been improved thanks to supply script optimization. Unit cards have been updated for dozens of factions, and the UI for agents and skill trees has been restructured for clarity. New faction selection maps and updated cultural victory conditions also bring a more polished feel to starting campaigns. And then there are the hundreds of smaller fixes here as well. Pathfinding bugs, missing unit entries, errors in descriptions, balance issues with ports and temples, visual tweaks to helmets and cavalry, rivalry, and adjustments to unique units across dozens of factions. These might sound quite minor, but together they all add up to a more consistent and immersive campaign experience across the board. For me, the most positive and most exciting part of this update is seeing Divide Et Impera turn its attention to the standalone campaigns. The Grand Campaign has always been the heart of the mod, of course, but Rome 2 has always had a lot of other scenarios that honestly felt a little neglected compared to DEI's high standards. With Empire Divided finally being brought into line, even in this very early form, it feels like the team is very committed to making every corner of the game worth playing. That said, of course, it's important to remember this is still in beta form. Empire Divided especially is only just starting its overhaul, and the devs are upfront that many units are placeholders or anachronistic, things will change, balance will be refined, and standards will be brought up to the level players expect from DEI. So that's the Divide Et Impera update in a nutshell, guys. A foundation for a rebuilt Empire Divided, a much stronger Caesar in Gaul, major faction overhauls, and a mountain of fixes and polishes for the Grand Campaign. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can download the beta right now and load it above the main mod. Just keep in mind that submods probably won't be compatible with this until they're updated. I'll be keeping an eye on how this beta develops in the months ahead, but for now, it's clear DEI is still pushing Rome 2 further than Creative Assembly ever did. This beta might not be the finished product just yet, but it's a strong sign that the mod is continuing to grow and improve even 10 years after the game's release. I've dropped links to the beta and the change notes down below in the video description, so definitely check it all out and let me know what you think in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like and subscribe, of course, to the channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.